What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? All right, let me camera good. All right, cool. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday. Um, Super excited. Today's Wednesday. I love doing these trainings. I love being able to reach out to you guys, coach, help see how we can help you guys grow your business. Again, we've been on this journey this year. We want to help create business owners that can create that hit that 10,000 a month mark, or put themselves in a position to create a business that creates income consistently. Okay. So what we've been going over the last couple of weeks is for the first month we went over how to create leads. Now we're going over, once we get those leads, how do we turn those into sales? On last week we had a really good conversation. I'm gonna show you guys, share my screen so you guys can see some of the things we went over last week. And this is so important. If you missed last week, make sure you get the recording. It was a really good session. And we talked about selling your sauce. And I'm not going to go too deep into it, but we talked about optimizing the offer and your pricing strategy. So this is really important when you want to know, make sure that your offer matches the person that you want to talk to. So for an example, you wouldn't sell a BMW for $500, right? But if you have a used beat up car, you're also not going to sell that for 100,000, right? Because you're probably not going to get any sales. So you want to make sure that your offer matches the person that you want to talk to. So that was lesson one. We talked about selling your sauce. We talked about ensuring that the offer aligns, your pricing position, and also overcoming any objections. Okay, so we have a four-step, four objections that you get, and we talked about how to overcome those objections. Okay, sounds good. So make sure you check out last week's recording if you haven't seen it yet. Today, what we're going to be talking about is money talk. Money talk. So this is within that sales conversation, because what we understand is every conversation that we have leads to what? Every conversation that we have leads to something, right? It could be a sale, it could be a follow up, it can be a get back, or it could be, hey, I'm not interested, right? So what we want to do is we want to put you guys in a position that at the end of that conversation, you have a clearly defined direction that you're going to go with this client. That could mean that, hey, this person isn't a good fit for me, or it could mean that my solution isn't the right solution for them. But at the end of this conversation, we want to make sure that you're able to have that clarity around the decision, so you're not leaving that conversation saying, "Hey, coach, I got a client. They're about to sign up. I sent them the proposal. I'm just waiting for them to pay." Nope, you're not waiting, and then they go ghost, right? You're not waiting for that scenario. What you're waiting for is, hey, coach, I've already got my deposit, and we're about to get started. We're doing onboard next week. That's what I want to hear. Okay. So one thing that I do recommend, I think is really good, and depending on your business, there's so many different ways it can be done, and that's going to be discovery calls. Your discovery call is really just that. You want to put yourself in a position that you can get as much information as possible to make a decision. Let me say that again. You want to get as much information as possible to make a decision. What decision are you making? You're deciding if you want to work with that client. Okay. We want to make sure that you make a decision that you want to work with that client, not that they want to work with you. Okay. That's what we want to do. So we want to put you in a position where you can make that decision. So the discovery call is to guide them to make an informed decision while positioning yourself as a solution. Okay. At the end of this call, you want to make sure that they know that the problem that they have, you can solve it. Okay. That's what we want to do. So this is what we're gonna do. So when we do our discovery call, the first thing we want to do is set the frame early, right? We want to set the stage. So it's just like, if you go to the movies, what's the first thing you do? You see all the commercials for new movies. So what is that doing? That's setting the stage for you to come back to the movies to watch one of these new movies that they have coming out, right? They want to entice you to come back, okay? And then what do? They say, hey, look, don't record this movie, right? Don't make noise or whatever. They're setting the stage for you to watch the movie and enjoy the movie, right? That's the same thing we want to do in this discovery call. We want to set the stage. We want to set the frame for what you want to happen within this call. So what does that look like? Um, Ms. Jones, so what we're going to do today, we're going to have a simple conversation, a quick 15-minute conversation. And what I want to do is I want to see if I'm a good fit for your business. Okay? When you send the frame, all you want to do is let them know what's going to happen within this call. So within this call, it could be, hey, we may make a decision at the end of this call that we're going to move forward and do business together. Or it could be we're going to make a decision on this call that that you're not the right fit to work with us, right? But you want to set the stage so they can know what to expect during this call. Okay, so step one in your discovery call is to set the stage, set the frame. Okay. The next thing that you want to do is you want to ask deliberate questions. Okay. Now, this is very important. This is what I always recommend to like create your system, write out your step by step. What's going to happen is you're going to start to get very similar questions. Like people are going to ask you pretty much the same questions, right? Of course, there's going to be a question about cost. There's going to be a question about the process. So what you want to do, you want to make sure that you can insert questions that kind of get those things out early, right? So what does that look like? Um, so what type of budget did you have in mind to accomplish this? Right? That's a great question. Because when they answer that question, they're going to say what their budget was to perform the service, right? You can ask the question, how soon, like, is this something you were thinking to do, you know, like in the next month, the next couple of days? Like and they're going to say, well, yeah, I wanted to accomplish this like today. Okay, cool. So it's okay. So you want to take care of this today. Then you can ask another question. Um, so where's your spouse? Like, where's your wife? Like, I'm sure the wife is gonna help you make, you may need, do you need anybody else to make a decision, or is it just you? Because what am I doing? Like, I've already set this frame, right? I've already set the stage. Now I'm asking deliberate questions. Every question that I ask has a purpose behind it. And that purpose is when I get to the end of this call, I'm going to ask you to do business with me, right? And if I ask you to do business with me, I have enough ammo based on my questions to get that sale. Okay. The last thing in your discovery call is when you ask these deliberate questions, be quiet, right? Just be quiet. Ask your questions and then allow them to talk. They're gonna tell you everything you need to know to sell them, right? And this is how we create more fluid in our sales conversation, where we're having a conversation and we're just repurposing the information that they gave us. If they say, yeah, I want to get this done within the next couple of weeks. Yeah, well, look, in the next couple of weeks, these are the things that we can get done, right? I'm just going to use their words in the frame of the conversation of the sales conversation. Now, all I'm doing is, hey, remember you said, right? Boom. That's your discovery call. So step one is going to be your discovery call. Okay. Step two, handle the objection with confidence. So one of the first things that I recommend is being very intentional about the objections that you potentially could get, right? So what I would recommend is think back on your last 20 conversation with clients where they didn't buy. And within that, you're going to see that for the most part, it's only about four objections that they would give you, right? There's going to be price, there's going to be time, there's going to be belief, and there's going to be spouse. Okay. Now, once you iron everything out to those four objections, now you can start to have answers to those questions. So for an example, if one of their objections is, I don't know if I can do this, right? So you want to be deliberate again in your discovery call to bring out those questions and instill that belief that they can do this, right? So you may want to tap into something they've accomplished before, right? Maybe they got their master's degree, or maybe they've had multiple children, right? So you can say something like, "Hey, like you've had multiple children, you can do this," or "You got your master's degree, you can do this," right? Because you want to have enough ammo so that you can handle that objection before it even comes up. Okay. Now, when they give you a concern, make sure you validate that concern. If they say, hey, I don't know if I can do this, don't just brush it off, right? Allow them to sit in that and know that, listen, I know you think that you can't do this, but I've seen 100 of you, right? I've seen hundreds of you. And I know that not only can you do this, I think that you're going to be amazing in it, right? So validate their concern. It's okay to have that concern, but this is why you're going to be great in it. Okay. The next thing is reframe the objection. Okay. So what does that mean? When you reframe the objection, what that means is you literally listen to what they say. Yeah, I'm just I want to go home and think about it. I think this sounds really good. I got enough information. I'm gonna go home and think about it. So you just again, so number one, you validate the concern. Okay, good. Yeah, I definitely understand you want to go home and think about it. Because you're probably one of those people who don't make a decision on the first day. Is that correct? Okay, cool. I understand that. Definitely understand that. Just so I'm clear, what is it that you want to go home and think about? Okay. What did I do? I validated their concern and then I reframed the objection. They told me, I used their words, that they want to go home and think about it. What is it that you want to think about? Yeah, I just want to make sure that I can afford it. Ah, right. So now it's not a thing of they want to think about it. What they want to think about is, can I afford it? So now we can have a real conversation because I've went another level deep and now I understand what the real concern is. The real concern is I don't know if I can afford it. Okay. So now I can dig into how can I afford it? So now I can address, like, again, one of those four concerns, right? Money. Now I can address the money thing. Okay. The next thing is show. So if there's, especially if there's a concern about belief, you want to have things on deck for where you can show this is somebody else that's done it, right? Case studies, referrals, not referrals, but reviews. You want to be able to show things like that so that people can know that you're the person that can solve this problem, right? I remember I was working on this. I was working with this one client, and man, he had a massive uh, idea that he was working on, and he had already created an app. He already has started the process of working with clients. It's almost like a Uber. If he was to do the app correctly, it would be as big as Uber. Okay, and I was on the ground level with helping them create it, and we're not creative. It was already created, but I was on the ground level helping them get it to the next level because based on what he was telling me, I was able to help. So he was like, "Yeah, I don't know if you're able to help me, right?" And but what he was saying was, I haven't seen that you're able to help me, right?" So what I had to do, I had to show him, like, "Look, this is somebody that I work with that right?" And show proof that this is what we're able to do, right? So sometimes you do have to go that extra step, especially in this society, this time now where you have so many people that can get on social media and say they've done things that they haven't done. You want to make sure that you can kind of stand out from the crowd and let that person know that, listen, look, I know other people might tell you things, but I do what I said that I do. Okay. So you want to be able to show that as well. That's how you really handle objection. So, all right. Now, the next thing is you want to become a natural closer. So, for anybody who know me, I love sales, but I'm not a sales guy, right? I prefer to have a conversation. I prefer to get down to it. I don't get too high, I don't get too low. I want to make sure that we can have a conversation and kind of and help you solve the issue. Okay. So with that, you want to make sure that you figure out who you are as a salesperson. Okay. Are you the person who pushes an envelope? Are you the person who is not afraid to ask for the sale? Are you the person who's shy? Are you the person who puts it in their hand where you say, hey, look, well, I'm gonna see your proposal with the pricing, right? And let them, right? Because what that does is that takes it out of your court, just so you know, right? And because we're gonna talk about sales confidence too. So you want to identify who are you as a salesperson, okay? Now, what you can do once you know and understand how you are as a salesperson, now you have a basis to grow on that, right? So now, if you are a person who You're making offers. So an offer, I mean, an actual pitch is, hey, this is my solution to your problem. This is how much it costs. This is how we can obtain the solution. Okay. And that's an actual pitch. And when you do that and they're able to make a decision, yes or no. Now, once you've identified that, you can really sit down and look at your pitch and now start to fine tune your pitch, right? So maybe it's, hey, maybe I need to ask this question first. Maybe I don't need to ask this question. Maybe I need to show my pricing here. Maybe I need to give 3 options for pricing opposed to 2. So you can really start to fine tune what's working and what's not working. But what's important is that you have the people to talk to, right? Because what can happen is we'll be in a position where we don't have enough people to talk to, enough people to pitch to, and now we just want to sell anybody who sits in front of us. Okay, that's a bad problem. So we got to fix number one with having enough leads to get us to this place where we can have somebody to sell to. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is being a natural closer is assume the close, right? So what does that mean? When you assume the close, that is when you when you have the messaging of yes, it's futuristic. When you buy this, when you buy my solution, this is what you're going to get. Man, your life is going to look so better once you join my program or once you join my thing, right? Or once you sign up with me, once you do this. So so now you can help them picture what things are going to look like on the other side of making this decision. Because just as nervous as you are to make the pitch, they're as nervous as you are to make to make the purchase. Okay, so both of you guys are sitting there nervous, and you don't and both of you guys are trying to figure out what to do next, right? So that's why it's important for you to have that sales confidence to um to make that offer. And now it's only one person who's nervous, right? And then it's easy that you control it where you can make that person feel comfortable. Okay, that's when it's natural. All right. I had another point, but I forgot it when I was talking. So that's the first one. We're going to assume the close. Assume that you're going to do business with this person, right? One thing that I was taught when I was going, like when I was learning sales, is my mentor would say, you can ask like, is it going to be Visa or Mastercard? Because you're going to buy. It's just a question of which one is it going to be, right? Now that's not necessarily my style now, but I understand the sentiment. You want to make sure that they know that they're going to be moving forward with you. It's almost like, oh, well, why wouldn't you move forward? And now think about this: if you've done everything else, especially here within the discovery call, you've identified potential objections they may have, and you have and you've asked those questions. When you get to the close, it shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be a hard sell. You already know that they're the decision maker. You already know that it's in their budget. You already know that they believe in themselves and that they can do it. You already know that they have the time to do it. What are we talking about? Right? So you want to make sure that you can assume the close. All right. So the next one is your if then, right? Your if then is they give you a objection. Let's say if it's money, and they say something like, "Yeah, man, this sounds amazing, but it's not really in my budget." Okay, so I understand. So you're saying it's not in your budget right now. Um, Now, let me ask you this first: is this something that Do you think that this is something that can benefit you? Is this good? Like, do you think my services are good? They're gonna say yeah, because they're not gonna say no, right? They're gonna say yeah. I think this is great. Like, I would love to do this. So if you had the money, you would do it. I just want to make sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I had the money, I would do it. Okay, good. Because I just want to make sure. I don't want to go too far ahead. I want to make sure I give you the best, service. So the issue isn't the service, but it's more so just making sure that it fits into your budget. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. Just curious. Earlier you said that, you were thinking that the service will cost around this, and we're pretty close to that number. Let me ask you this: if we were able to figure out a way to get you closer to that number, then would you move forward with us today? Right. So that's your if then. Your if then is you look at this, you look at their objection, right? and then you add a solution. So if objection, their objection, then your solution to that objection. Okay. Now, this is what I recommend. I never look at discounting your stuff, right? What I will look at is how can we, and I'm talking about in the pitch, how can we change the terms, not change the price? Okay. So if you're saying that your offer is $1,000, okay, cool. It's still $1,000, right? But maybe instead of we us doing a deposit of 750, maybe let's do a deposit of 500. So if we're able to decrease your deposit today to 500, then would you move forward? And then get the answer, right? Um, if we're able to post date this to such and such date, then we move forward. Like just so we're clear, like it's gonna run on this date, right? And I don't really love that one because it's a whole nother a gambit of problems that can come where people can cancel it. They can it's a bunch of stuff. So you really want to get a deposit that day. So the thing is, like, don't think like it's too small. If it means they can get started. If it's $100 and he offers 1,000 and you get a deposit of $100, okay, you got a deposit of $100, right? Because what it is, you're looking for a commitment. It's not about the money. Of course, you want to make money, but you want the commitment. Okay, so that's your if then. So you take away their solution and you provide a solution. You take away their objection, you provide a solution. So I always want you to be thinking, how much wiggle room do I have in this negotiation? Because that's what it is, right? You want to think about how much wiggle room do I have in it. Okay. The next thing, you want to create a low barrier. Okay, so what is a low barrier? How can we create low barriers? So a low barrier could be instead of sending them, a 3-page contract, let's do this. We're gonna go ahead and take your payment right now while we're on the call. Okay. And then we're gonna send you all the documentation stuff where you can read when you have time. That's a low barrier. Okay. Or hey, look, while we're on the Zoom, here's a link for you to go ahead and make a payment. Right? Make your deposit. You want to create that low barrier. How can I create the less friction as possible? Okay. If it's something you want them to sign up for, hey, listen, I got you on a call, I'm with you right now. Let me get your information. I'll go ahead and put the information in for you. Okay. Take away anything that can cause friction. I'm not a huge fan of sending proposals because proposals are a big friction point. People they may not look at them. Um, they may have a question, but you can't answer that question right then and there. Right? What's the best thing that you can do? If you got a template of a contract, let's go over the contract really quick and have highlighted here's some of the key points that most people look at. And I'm gonna send you this, but here's some of the key points. What is it? Terms, money back guarantees, like those things, right? Highlight some really good things that you have in your contract too. So it could be something like, hey, look, this is going to hold me responsible, right? If all this makes sense, then let's go ahead and move forward. You know what I'm saying? This is the gist of the contract. Let's go ahead and move forward. Okay. So figure out how you can create low barriers as well within that process so that you can get the sale. The name of the game, guys, is getting sale. And again, like the name of this is money talk. So let's look at how can we take these conversations and turn these conversations into money. Okay. There's too many scenarios where we're having leads or people that potentially want our service, and we're not doing our part. And doing our part is making sure that we have adequate conversations to turn those leads into money. And you want to be you want to be looking at, if I talk to 10 people, how many of those 10 people will actually buy my service, right? Then you want to look at, out of 10 people who are interested, how many of those people do I talk to? Okay. Now you want to start playing that game, the numbers game of like, okay, if 10 people say they're interested, probably 2 are going to actually do business with me or get on a call. Okay. So now we're looking at, okay, instead of 2, let's get it to 4, right? If I have 4 people on a call, excuse me, 2 of them are going to do business with me. Let's get it to 3. So you just want to make sure that you're always progressing within within your metrics so that you're getting better, getting better. And then figure out like what is it that I'm doing that what is it I'm doing that could be better, right? Now, last thing about objections, and honestly, this whole process, write out your entire process. So your discovery calls, literally script your discovery calls. I promise you, it'll change everything. Script your discovery call. So that's if you got little corny jokes that you say in the beginning, like, yeah, man, this weather crazy. Okay, whatever. You say that on every call, whatever. Put that into your script for your discovery call, right? When you set the frame, what do you say when you set the frame? What are your deliberate questions, right? Put into your notes at the bottom of each page. Be quiet. Let them talk. Okay. You may have in there, say their name, little stuff like that, right? So once you create this, now what I want you to do is it's just like anything else. Practice. We cannot only do this or go over this information when we're in front of a client. When we're in front of a client, it's the game, right? That's when we perform. That's not when we practice. We don't practice with clients. You're at home, get in the mirror. Go through your discovery call, right? Take your phone out. Record yourself doing the discovery call, right? Now, when you're driving to work, driving to school, wherever you're going to, listen to your discovery call. Listen to how you sound. Listen to the questions you're asking. Listen to your tonality, right? And now what you're going to be able to do, you're going to be able to make a decision of, oh man, I need to say this different. Well, I shouldn't ask this question, right? You want to be able to figure out what's working, what's not working, right? Now, when you get on a discovery call, you can still use your script, but you don't have to read because you know the script. Okay. All right, cool. All right, guys. So this was session 2 for this month, which is money talk. And if you guys have questions, let's put it in the chat. Make sure you reach out. Stop the recording here. Hey, Kiki.
Hey.
How's everything?
Everything is everything. Just got the baby out the tub, so I'm getting her stuff
You
straight
see, you
now.
got the baby what?
Just got her out the tub.
Oh,
She had a
oh.
little poopage going on.
That's good.
Little poopy going on. And just got her out the tub.
Good.
Yeah. How's everything going?
Everything's good. Britt just went to her sister's house with the kids for her sister's birthday. So yeah, she got the
Your
kids
wife is
going.
amazing. She is amazing. I
I
promise you, one
know.
of the best people. I know. Talk your is.
I know.
She
Yeah.
is. She's just and all just an awesome person.
I'm glad y'all connected.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm
Me
glad
too. I
because
didn't know how much my soul needed that.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
she's
for both
super
of
nice.
y'all, like she needed it too. So I'm glad y'all connected and y'all there for each other.
Hold on, let me see. Get out real quick. Get out. Let me get this. Let me get the baby straight. Give me a pound for somebody. I finished so much.
Oh, let me stop
The
recording.
Bella Moore, she want to love a bone. She want to let me love a bone.